the housing market crashing? As of recording this, we've seen lumber prices begin to drop, a sudden slowdown in mortgage refinance and application rates, and the supply of homes begin to rise. Here's what's happening. Back in April of 2020, the world went on lockdown and the housing market basically was put on ice because nobody knew exactly what was going to happen. The only thing people really knew is that they needed to buy as much toilet paper as possible. Do you have any more of these? As things went into lockdown, that's when the Federal Reserve stepped in, and they did what they could to stimulate the economy by setting interest rates at nearly 0%. They hoped by doing this would give people more incentive to go out and buy things, including homes. It worked! The summer of last year, housing prices exploded in the US, with some homes being sold the day they were listed. And the overall value of the housing market in the US increased by around $2.5 trillion in 2020 alone. That's the largest increase since 2005. The economic lockdowns made suburbs much more attractive to people who were living in the city because they could basically buy a larger living space at a fraction of the cost. With so many people buying homes at a lower interest rate, that means a lot of people had some extra cash just lying around. Remember, most of the US was on a lockdown last year, so with extra money lying around and some time to kill, a lot of people turned to home improvement projects. That caused a lot of people to buy lumber, which allowed them to actually do the projects that they wanted to around the house. And if they couldn't buy a house, then a lot of people actually turned to just building a house instead. This created a lumber shortage in the housing industry, which set the price of lumber sky high. In fact, at one point over the last year, it cost around $36,000 more just to build a house because the demand for lumber was so high. And it didn't help that since the economy basically shut down, transporting lumber to job sites and mills was basically stopped. That caused backups in the housing industry, which basically made the price of lumber go up and labor prices to rise as well. And with all the housing action going on, current homeowners didn't want to miss out. Many of them decided to refinance their mortgages for a lower rate, which helped them save thousands of dollars. So you had record low mortgage interest rates, record high lumber prices, and people flocking to refinance their mortgages all in the same year. Oh, and not to mention government intervention with stimulus checks and the mortgage moratorium program, which basically made it so that people didn't have to pay their mortgages for several months out of the year. This sent the housing market through the roof over the last year, and things got so competitive that at one point, some homes were selling for around $10,000 to $20,000 above asking. Now the question is the inflation bubble in the housing market getting ready to pop? Well, kinda. It appears as if the market is getting to a point where there's too many houses available and not enough people to actually buy those houses. That means there's a shortage of homes on the market, which means there's going to be more competition for homes, which means the price of homes will continue to rise. And while there was a ton of government intervention and record low mortgage rates that put a lot of money in people's pockets, eventually houses are going to become way too expensive for people to buy. In other words, people will be priced out of buying a new home. And we're beginning to see that as housing prices continue to increase, but the amount of people wanting to buy houses is going down. This may switch the dynamic in the housing market because you've got a ton of houses listed for sale, but not a lot of people willing to buy them because the prices are so high. In addition, we've seen mortgage application rates drop so far in 2021, which means there's less interest to actually buy a home. And as people go back to work, there's less time for home projects, which means the price of lumber is going down as well. That means more homes can be built and more homes will be ready to sell. But just because we add homes to the market does not mean those homes will sell, at least not right away. And with less people buying homes and more homes on the market, we may see interest rates for mortgages go up as well this year. This may price even more people out of buying homes because before they could afford the home because the interest rate was so low. But if the interest rate goes back up, they may not be able to buy that same home. So is the housing market going to crash soon? Honestly, nobody knows. What goes up must come back down, right? So by that logic, housing prices are set to lower at least sometime in the near future. But if things go down as fast as they went up, we might see a crash in the housing market. It's a tough call though, because as interest rates begin to rise, the inventory of homes goes up, government intervention ends, and buyers slowly disappear from the market, we may see things just return to normal sometime soon. So, what do you think? Do you think the housing market will continue to rise in 2021? Or